Welcome back, everybody. Here at the Steam Military Institute, we got the 1225 in here, having pieces taken apart, specifically the back end. The trailing truck has been disconnected, and in its place, we got a roller-bearing freight truck underneath that's been modified to carry the weight on the back end. And where the truck would be, we can see the hopper, the dumper for the ashes. And we see the frame underneath here that carries the weight of the locomotive and the pieces attached. Under here would be the pivot for the truck, not where the truck is here. This is mainly for stabilization. Standard 100-ton Barber S2. Blocks underneath to help jack it. Just put the hydraulic jacks underneath the 70-ton car jacks and lift it as needed or lower it. And the tender, of course, was unattached. Had to take apart the hoses and the stoker and remove the drawbars. And over on this side, we got quite a mess because we got parts. Here we got a brake beam, and then we got the outlet for the water, mainly, and the residuals from the blowdown. This is really the tailpipe, and that was cleaned off. If you see the pictures on Facebook, our Facebook page, that's Paramarquette 1225 Back Shop, Steam Military Institute. Zach used the power washer to clean all that off, as well as the trucks. These parts here, here's one of the brake pieces for the back, which should go right up there. Had to remove that to take the truck out. It's mainly been scraped off of all the grease and partially wire wheeled. And hopefully we'll get it all cleaned off the rest of the way and repainted. Some more parts down there. But here are the parts, spring rigging for the inside of the truck, all taken apart. They need to be cleaned now and inspected. All sorts of parts. They're all accounted for. And here's the smaller parts. These are the pieces that hold the axles into the bottom of the truck. And on the other side, we'll see the main pieces of the truck, the frame, over here, all raised up. It's been scraped off and power washed. So when we put it all back together, it'll need to be repainted. But it's actually not too bad shape. See where a lot of the rust and the different pieces of crap just fell down in here and piled up, and had a tough time cleaning it. See the inside turned colors underneath the paint. Here we had the wheels. These are the back wheels, and these are the ones at the front. Different sizes. The back ones, if you can see the band here, these were meant to have a booster on them. So this would be where the gear goes over, but it never did. The N1 class never did have boosters. The N class and the N2 class did, but this class didn't. And the tires on this wheel set was replaced back in 2009, so it's in pretty good shape. This is probably the only other tire other than the drive wheels that have a tire on it. So, like, this is just a plain axle wheel here on the front. You can see all the lube lines here been disconnected and accounted for. And see on the other side here, we got the pipe hanging down from the cold water pump here. It's been cleaned out. Here we have the bearing boxes. Part of the reason we were taking this apart is because it needs new bushings and bearings. Got through MPE there, it started making noise and not sounding too good. The lube lines on it were probably clogged in places, and the brasses, they're just going out of shape, so we gotta replace a lot of stuff in here so it'll work correctly and probably give it a much smoother ride. You can see how it's kind of jacked up the way it is. Still enough to keep the drivers down though. Had to release the spring rigging to get it to do that. Here we have the pipe for the cold water pump that goes across the truck, and the hanger that holds the hose on the back. And we have the drawbars that hold the tender and locomotive together. It's been mostly cleaned off except for inside there. Got the extra parts there, the bolts holding stuff together. We got the tunnel piece that goes under the cab for the stoker. That's been pretty much cleaned off too. So not too bad shape here. They're going to be once they're finished cleaning them off, they're going to be inspected, and we'll be well on our way putting things back together. So, got the truck taken out, the brasses being replaced, the spring rigging being inspected and tightened up. We got a whole bunch of blocks here to use for that, so that way we can jack it in places. In the machine shop portion, we got all these different pipes here. Marinox, the Boilermaker guy, is busy working on new boilers for people for his business, Ridge Locomotive Works, and he needs these big machines in here to help him. So he's got to be working on that. Remember, he did both the 463 and the 464, rebuilding those. So he does a pretty good job. It's pretty meticulous too. We have the one of the dynamos in here being worked on. We got two up there now. One's a replacement. We need to get another one working because it's not going so well with it. Probably gonna have to rewire the locomotive also, the whole thing, before the summer. So a bunch of problems with the electrical. All the old wires still in there. We have the pins for the drawbar. Well, it's just this one big pin here. This was the one that came out of the locomotive, and that's the plate that holds it underneath. And a bunch of different parts. We've been working on our machines in here, getting things cleaned up this area of a whole bunch of old parts. Trying to get some of these this machine here. This is another Disholt lathe, and we got the Monarch one over here doing most of the work, and the Ballard vertical drill as well. Here's a Regal, the Ballard lathe, and then all these other ones, trying to get them fully operational. This here is a sander, planer. Gotta get that working again. Of course, we got the new parts washer in there. That came here last year. Yeah, pipe maker. Yeah. So we'll see how the truck rebuild goes, and hopefully it'll be back into the locomotive within a couple of months here. So not too bad looking now that it's been cleaned off and fully taken apart. So okay, now we're not going to put a booster underneath of it. Sorry if that was one of your questions, but so far the smoke box is cleaned out, and so is the firebox. In fact, the brick has been taken down for the inspection. We gotta get into the boiler pretty soon. Not this weekend, it's too cold. And make sure that we can inspect it well. Okay, so we're looking at 1225 in here in March now, and the back trucks are still out of it. As you can see, the roller bearing one is still under there. A lot of stuff has been going on. Excuse the mess again. We've been piling that table up again with stuff. But here's some of the stuff we have gotten done. Pulled the pieces out of the truck and we cleaned them off real good and got them labeled. And now they've been primed on most of the pieces. As you can see all over. We had to take a nice diagram of them to make sure we knew which parts they were. Here's a better visual of that, corresponding to each part. We are not primed the springs. The big ones, this one and this one that's flipped over, are going to Detroit next week to be baked and then pushed down back into a more spring-like position, because they've pretty much been leveled off here over the past several years, so we'll have a lot more spring to them in the coming years. Here we have more the equalizers, which were not primed yet. I had to clean more of them off and relabel them. The old bushings, all these pieces were knocked out though. Most of them were cut out. You can see that piece down in there is one of the old bushings that we cut out, and we'll replace those. And they ground down inside the holes here, so that way the new ones can fit in. These pieces here are the new trap and vestibule pieces for coach 5581, and they've all been primed too. We'll see that outside soon. Here's the trap for the other side. And back to the locomotive again. Some more pieces here for the truck. These are the plates that go on the bottom to hold in the journal boxes. And here's some more bearing pieces in here. I just cleaned all these today. Still got the brake on the floor here and the blow down piece. And then this is the handle that opens up the ash pan doors. We just fixed those last week. One of the doors wasn't opening all the way. We found that the door was partially off its track, so we readjusted it and put a new washer in on the other side, so that way it will open all the way now and close as well. We've been putting washout plugs back in too, and I don't want to get the camera all screwed up here, so I'll go past the light. See the truck all still torn apart here, taking a lot of the dirt and all the paint off. It's off so far. Gonna have to wire wheel some of it. That's the cord hanging off here. These are just cables that we're working on. Right now, Norbert and Bill are working on one of the journal boxes, grind off the top of it. They already finished with this one. See how they've ground it down to where it should be. These pieces were all sticking up here, kind of jagged, and they used the machine to grind it all off. I just cleaned off the back of it into this bucket here. They just fill it in for me. So this was all greasy and dirty. It's one of the pieces that goes on the back of the truck. You've seen its mate over there. This one needs a little bit of work to it, so it needs to be, then it will be primed as well. You can see in here, you can see the new washer in there for the ash pan, hold it in place the right way. Gonna have some new copper lines in here. Here are the other journal boxes as well. I got those all cleaned out also. All the oil was drained out, wiped out, vacuumed out all the crud, and hopefully they'll be reconditioned enough that we can just paint them up and put them back in there. The other parts here all cleaned off and ready to go. We have the drawbar pieces along with all the separate parts. Let's go outside quickly and see the coach. Okay, here we got car 5581, and see it's missing the vestibule pieces here under the door. I just primed all this today as well, because they just repaired this piece in here, that was all attached to. On the other side, it's a similar story, because they took that one out as well. Doors, the trap doors are pretty much rusted through. See, this one has the piece in it. The piece on the other side has to be welded to this one. They ran out of time the other day, so I just had to prime over it. So similar story right here. Primed all this, and then pretty soon the trap door would be re-added. And this car will be finished on this end for this year. We're looking at extensive interior redos as well. Here's car 5646 over here. It's going to have similar work into its traps as well. Okay, so from SRI for March, or at least the beginning of it, we'll see what happens later on. Okay, it's May. We got Rich working on some parts here. See the springs back there. They're all done. Right there too. Parts all clean. Got 75 out here as well as some other cars. Working on them, getting them ready. Here's one of the wheel sets. Brought back. All turned and got the new roller bearings on there. Not bad. So, yeah. This is the smaller wheel set. The other one's inside. Here are the brasses. Don't really need trays anymore. The inside, I'm working on putting in the new wheel. All the tires on the wheels again. Inside the tool car, got things all cleaned up and sorted out. And put new things together. Doing some more sorting here. Yeah, hoses, all the stuff we need. Tied down the tool chest. Man, it's really come together. We got our workbench here. And we got the lockers up on here. Really nice. Oils and lubricants back here. You can see the engine out here getting ready to have stuff put back on.
You want to make flame?
Yeah, you could do that too. It'll make it look cool.
Make it look cool.
Yeah.
That's working.
Wow. That's how you do it.
Does that do anything if you keep it that way?
Not very well. You want blue flames, yeah. Awesome.
Nah, you want white flames.
Yeah, and then we'll break it. Yeah, as you can see, the new roller bearings are on there too. I'm talking to the camera. And we're gonna put them back in the boxes. All finished. Okay, we're a week away. We made it to the end of the day, and we got everything put back together on 12/25. Just in time, all the parts got made and things cleaned up around here. So everything's back on except for the hoses between the engine and the tender. They're pretty much ready to go as soon as we're done with cleaning things up. So here's the truck with the bearings on the axles inside there. And despite what I said earlier, we're probably going to leave the covers off for now. But the thing is, in the future, if we go out on the big class 1s, we can't have them on there because apparently technology has not caught up to where it has been. It's never been taken advantage of. To have something that detects heat beyond covers, so we'll have to keep the covers off here, and we'll probably have to cut this down a little bit to make sure that the detectors can see the bearings inside there, which is pretty sad in my opinion. But you know, if it has to be done, it has to be done in order to go out on the big main lines. But yeah, as long as it still runs. We got the new copper piping up here to replace all the old stuff that was taken off. You can see it here. And so it all has to be repainted. The only thing we're missing here is the downspout muffler piece that is for the blowdown, which is here on this side, and this will drop all the water down by the time we do a blowdown. And of course, all the steam and vapor will escape up there in the muffler. And yeah, so we got the injector put back together, and it was cleaned off and worked on. And now they just got paint it. There's a few pieces missing here that were are being held off for right now, but they'll be put back on soon. And of course, we'll have the hoses back on in between there and the engine and the tender, and see how everything goes. There's the electrical connection, and everything is pretty much ready to go for next week's excursion to Cadillac. And behind the 1225 here, we have the commuter cars, the two commuter cars that are going on the trip, as well as the 75, which will be doing hand on throttle on Saturday, short trips on Sunday. 1225 will have its hand on throttle on Sunday. And this is all during Kerwood Festival. So yeah, if you're around, come on out. We'll have mini train rides on both days. And yeah, those are also free. I believe there's free admission that day. Hand on the throttles are already sold out. So a lot of work going on. You can see back there we're working on finishing some stuff up with the 7.5 gauge trains and getting them all ready. So yeah. Yeah, so Danny went out and bought a mountain car -9 Union Pacific. Cost him a pretty penny, but he likes it. It's got 16 horsepower Briggs & Stratton in it. Can pull all the cars around here pretty well. He redid a lot of his cars to say Union Pacific on it. Not that I like that, but it's still okay. He's got some other cars down here he's putting the load on. He rewired our F40 here and removed some switches that weren't doing anything. And we also, one of the things we did was put a new headlight on it and made sure both ditch lights still work. So we're going to get a video of that in the future. So it's running well as long as there aren't any heat kinks on the track. So, but we'll keep working on it. Okay, so from SRI, that's the update.